everybody. Back for episode 5, the two old farts. I'm just a little old colored fella from New Jersey, Rico Jambo and Esquire, lawyer extraordinaire, joined as always from the great Ink and Ivy downtown Greenville, hailing from the Low Country, Greg Cassidy, and of course Duran's own Kurt Marks.
Wait a minute. The Low Country?
He's from the Low Country.
I'm Low Country.
Oh, you're the Low Country. Okay.
I said Duran.
Well, I thought you said we were originating from the Low Country.
I think the Fruit Loops are kicking in. How was your weekend, Kurt? Tell us about it.
It was great. Non-eventful.
I don't know. Let's elaborate on the.
Let's have a recap.
Yeah, we'll have a little recap.
Let's not say we didn't.
Had a little fun.
It was good. It really was a good weekend. Sunday was a little rough, but that's all right.
What was so rough about Sunday?
Probably the walk home. I mean, it was not alcohol-induced.
Allegedly.
No, I cooked dinner for my son and I, and my dinner didn't quite make it home with me. So he was fine. I wasn't.
Yeah, I heard it's outside of one of the local restaurants downtown.
Yeah, it was a couple streets down.
Just sort of
2-3 streets down.
Left them a souvenir.
I did.
The week that was, I was watching your Trump trial today. Cohen took the stand, and obviously he's being direct examined by the state, so everything that they ask him is going to be tilted towards the state. I imagine tomorrow, Wednesday, you'll get cross-examination, which should be a little bit interesting. What are you guys interested in hearing about on the cross?
I didn't hear it today, so tell me what the highlights were.
I read it. He actually came over a little later today. I had it on the TV, and I read what Cohen said. The prosecution's got one more day tomorrow. They want to extend it, and then Trump's lawyers will get to cross-examine him, and that's going to be the interesting part. I'm guessing that's going to happen late tomorrow, early Wednesday.
If your star witnesses are a hooker and a convicted liar, how good a case could you have?
and the other point is, Trump's leading in 6 battleground states. The only one he's not leading in is Wisconsin, and it's a tie.
He had 100,000 people in New Jersey Sunday at a rally. Think about that.
That's pretty impressive. And I will say I'm from New Jersey. New Jersey has had both parties at governor over the years, both parties in the Senate. So New Jersey is one of those places where you need to win the state.
What part of Jersey was that?
Northeast. I grew up right outside of New York City.
So it's on the Jersey Shore, wasn't it?
No, 40 minutes.
Really?
40 minutes.
Was it Newark?
Newark is our county seat city.
But was he at Newark? Was a rally at Newark?
I didn't see that.
No, it's Westminster.
Westminster is a town that's a little bit south of me. My expectation will be that his defense attorneys will go after Cohen pretty hard, and I think that's what they'll harp on. Listen, you lied then, you're lying now. How do you reconcile with this, though? At the time, I remember this, when he was protecting Trump, everybody loved him, and then now all of a sudden it's almost like everything I was doing for Trump's a lie. How do you reconcile that?
What is the crime?
He's pissed off because he went to jail and for perjury and a couple of other things. He spent, 18 months in jail, some stupid thing like that.
So that'd be his motive to lie as far as you guys are concerned, to get back at Trump for...
Yes.
But what they haven't said is there's no quid pro quo here. Quid pro quo.
That's not the Fruit Loops, that's the Tito's.
No, that's the Tito's. Because Trump is sitting there as the presumptive winner in the presidential election. He could he could go behind the scenes to Cohen, and if Trump was that corrupt, he could go behind the scenes to Cohen and say, you back me, I'll pardon you. That's not happening. He's going after Trump.
What do you guys think the likelihood of this trial will be? Now, keep in mind, they are in New York City with a New York City jury, New York State jury, New York County jury.
I think they'll convict him, and the appellate court will overrule it.
Agreed.
Oh, he's immediately appealing upon.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, they've probably got it drafted already. That's just logically thinking. All right, now, aside from Kurt, the weekend that was for me, we had a nice time here over the weekend, and a special guest appeared outside the window, and Greg made sure that he had a very quick and abrupt departure. Tell us about that.
I think he did it on his own. I think one of our locals just did not want to be sitting beside him, and she kind of ratted him out and was unsafe.
Have you ever been thrown out of a bar in your life?
No.
Imagine being 60 and getting thrown out of a
70.
bar. 70 and getting thrown out of a bar.
Sober.
He earned it.
Yep.
He earned it.
Yep.
Well, his girlfriend associate earned it for him.
Yeah. Well.
And he wasn't strong enough to put it down.
Affectionately known as
Skank. Named by Kurt.
Some person called her that years ago. And it stuck.
If the shoe fits, sometimes you have to wear it, guys. But no, give us the rundown on how that actually went with the lady that went over and politely.
He sat down here at the outside bar at Ivy, and one of the ladies said, I was here last time when your girlfriend was chasing you around with a hammer, and I'm not comfortable sitting beside you.
I was going to say there has to be some background here. That was the hammer incident was 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
That's a good point, Kurt. You guys, I wasn't here. I was at the lake that weekend. You guys are sitting there at the bar. Said individual comes in, is having a conversation with you.
The window's open. She stops her car right here, 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Totally hammered. He's standing right here, starts screaming.
She gets out of her car and starts screaming right there.
Let the car running.
And I imagine there's patrons sitting there eating, having a drink.
It's
There's a little dining area right here.
It was packed. So then she got back into her car, drove up about 100 yards.
No. He walked out to get in her car with her.
Yes, that's true.
She drove about 10 feet and was too drunk to drive. The car's still running. She got a stick shift. It's still in gear. She just jumps out of the car is still rolling. Some patrons jumped on top of her car to stop her from driving. Somebody got in the car and stopped it while she has a hammer and is chasing him around the car. And so my wife, unfortunately, got involved and grabbed the hammer out of her hand, and then there was a couple police officers got involved and took her away.
Let's just say it was a shit show.
It was a shit show.
Shit shows seem to happen a lot in and around happy hour over the years. We've
just for certain people.
100%. We've come accustomed to things like that.
So hence his evacuation the other night.
Yeah. Hasty exit, my man. Hasty. We don't need those problems here. We've always been.
No, that's why we call it happy hour.
Happy hour over in Amen's Corner here at Ivy. Now, I want to segue. I was reading an article in The Athletic the other day, and an anonymous coach gave a quote to The Athletic that said, these days, we have kids that will walk into your office and ask 2 questions. Am I starting right away, and how much are you guys paying me? And they said the kid requested $800,000 in the transfer portal, by the way. So he's been in college at least a year, and wanted to transfer. You guys at your age are so. I mean, this has got to be mind-boggling stuff to you all. Not like the old days the way it was. Thank you, Noel. Noel, our great bartender today. But I want to get into that subject when we come back to segment 2. We're already up on segment 1. We'll take a short little pee break, come back, but that's a topic I want to get into. So we'll be back on 2 Old Farts. All right, welcome back, segment 2. We left off with talking about that example that I gave you about the NIL and the transfer portal and what have you. I want to get you guys' take, growing up watching football the way you grew up and watched it versus what it is now. It's almost like, and I hate to say it this way, but the inmates are running the asylum.
Well, I think that's the reason Nick Saban retired. The exact quote you had from the kid that came in and wanted to know how much I'm going to make and what's my playing time going to be. He was like, I'm out.
Yeah.
So, obviously, I'm a Clemson fan. I'm a big Dabo fan. I think Dabo's way, he has decided not to take NIL people. See if that works long term.
Or he's not taking transfers.
I mean,
they let DJ have this.
You know,
he did the NIL deal.
Truth be told, Dabo's the lone soldier left.
He is.
He's the last one that didn't take it.
But do you think that and Kurt's a big UM guy. Do you think that hurts Dabo though in the long term, with these young kids, most of whom don't come from a lot, are going to seek other opportunities because Dabo has decided that this is not what he wants to do?
My opinion, in the first couple of years, yes, absolutely, it's going to hurt him.
So you think it evens out long term?
In the long term, he's going to be looked at, and he's going to be looked at as a Saban or the guy from Oklahoma, Alabama before Saban.
Stoops?
No, the old dude.
Gene Stallings?
No.
Bear Bryant?
Yes. He's going to be looked at as a stalwart.
I imagine the Bear Bryants of the world are rolling over in their graves.
Well, here's Dabo's theory: is he believes if he has signed 22 kids a year and he believed in them, he's not going to turn his back on them and go get a 1-year replacement for a guy he's offered 4 or 5 years. And you got to respect the loyalty. He's loyal to his players. His players, for the most part, are loyal to him.
I respect it.
We really haven't lost a star. DJ, I don't know if he's a star or not. Hope he does.
Let's get down to brass tacks. What's his graduation rate?
98%.
Yeah, you mentioned that
guy's
last
awesome.
week. I remember that. Yeah, I mean, look, he's been. I'll tell you what he's been great for is the economy in Greenville.
I'll tell you who's getting overlooked here in college sports.
If you say a Michigan coach, I'm stopping the show.
No, Kirby Smart.
You know, it's interesting because he seems to be the exact opposite of Dabo from that perspective.
Yep.
But it's worked out for him very well. I mean, he's dominated football in the last 3 years.
Coach.
But you look at what Deion Sanders did at Colorado. I mean,
Jimbo Fisher at A&M.
Jimbo Fisher at A&M.
It didn't work. I mean, it
didn't work.
This guy brought in a ton of these 5-star transfer portal guys. What they win? 6 games?
Yep. Got fired.
Mid-season.
You know, honestly, I know I'm prejudiced, but I think Dabo is a better human being than he is a coach. He's just a great person. You've had some interaction with a relative of yours who is a very good athlete and looking around. I think you were impressed when you went to the campus. You saw how the coaches treated him as a recruit, not a number. They, brought him into the family if he wants to come here. And I think that's Dabo's, to Kurt's point, is probably the last
of a dying breed.
Yes, that just culture. Come to Clemson, you're going to graduate. How many kids that play college football, NFL? I think it's 4%, 3%. So if you go to 4 different colleges in 5 years through the NIL transfer process and you don't have a degree, what are you going to do when you get out at 23 years old?
100%. We've got a little crowd behind us of guys that have just gotten a table and been a little rambunctious. Kurt, your take?
Well, I said it. I think Kirby Smart is the best coach in the country.
Proof in the pudding.
I mean, he's
they
won
dominated.
championships. I mean, and
it was total destruction of everybody.
I'm interested to see where the whole college football thing ends up with not only NIL but the reorganization of the conferences. I think we're going to come up with maybe 2 super conferences. I don't know where this ends up. There's too much money involved now.
It's going to end up with maybe 32 teams that are in the hunt, so to speak, and everybody else is just peripheral.
Which effectively makes that a 16-team playoff at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Are you all cool with the expansion?
No.
I think it's too many.
I think 4 is too few. Because I think 5 and 6 every year that we've seen it.
When has 12 ever been beat 1?
I think six was the perfect example.
Normally I would agree with you, and I'm going to give you a comparison. In college basketball, there had never been a 16 seed beat a 1 seed in the NCAA tournament. We had 2 back-to-back years.
I think basketball is different. In basketball, you can win with 1 or 2 good players. Football, you have to have 40 good players.
Football, first of all,
thank you.
If we're going to do, say, 8 teams, but I choose 6. they're going to play 17, 18 games. That's pros. The pros don't play 18 games. We're asking the college kids to play 18 games.
Well,
you can't do that.
Well, with the playoffs, if you make the playoffs in the NFL, you play
20.
Yeah, I mean, depending if you have a home game or not, or I'm
Whatever.
sorry, a bye. But
Don't
I get
care.
your point. I get
That's
your point.
not. You're going to ruin these college athletes, and it's going to make pro football worse.
These people care about the money. They don't care about the
But
athlete.
you're talking about 18, 19-year-old kids playing 17 games, man. Their bodies is just not built for that.
Better a 18, 19-year-old than a 27-year-old doing it, at the pro level, which is why a lot of fans don't want more games at the pro level. Me personally, I'm cool with it. I think it's more football for me, but
Fair.
we're also we're the fan. That's the end product. All right, now to close us out, I'm gonna make an admission here online. I've got a huge motion hearing coming up on Thursday. I'm an attorney, by the way, if I hadn't mentioned it. We have I have a case right now where someone was shot and killed at a bar in Greenville, and one of the defendants that we have sued has moved to have the case thrown out, dismissed. I can't get into too much of the specifics. A lot of it's on the public index. People ask me all the time what the hardest part about my job is. Days like Thursday are what sticks out to me. You have a kid who died in a bar. Just having a couple drinks, someone walked in.
Was that a random or a vindictive?
No, this was vindictive. This was the result of some interactions that certain people didn't agree with, and that's not for me. I don't. But people always ask me the hardest part of my job, and this coming Thursday is it for me. It's like there's just a discomfort with knowing that at the end of the day, this kid's family may not have an opportunity to recover anything. And it sits with me. It has a eerie effect, if you will, on me, because I'm passionate about what I do, right?
So who would your client get money from, the bar itself?
One of the defendants that has filed to have the case dismissed is, shall I say, a government entity. And they have certain things that they're allowed to sort of hide behind, which governments do that. They're given that leeway by their state's constitutions, sometimes by the U.S. Constitution, and that's what creates for me sort of that ism. It's like a Noe-ism that they have. They're sometimes they're not being held accountable in situations where they should be. Now I say that because you
Now hold on. I have something to say here.
All right, let me hear.
That was the most political bullshit speech I've ever heard.
Well,
and
fucking politician.
but given that answer, I think you should run for office given your heredity. Because your parents, talk about your parents.
Heredity.
Your parents?
You mean like colored folk heredity or something?
Your parents were in the New Jersey government.
His uncle, too.
My dad was. My uncle Theo Mitchell was a state senator here.
His uncle lives a block from me.
Ran for governor in 1990. He got slaughtered by Carroll Campbell, but at that time, hey, listen, I told my uncle this, and he and I don't talk very much, and that's fine. I said, Uncle, the fact that you lost that election should mean very little to you. The fact that you were the nominee and the fact that George Bush Sr. mentioned your name, that's a win in my opinion.
I didn't hear that.
Well, if you remember, Strom Thurmond reached out and said, we got to get this guy, we got to beat this guy.
Back to my point. Your parental heritage, your family heritage.
My lineage.
Your lineage, if you will. After that speech of what you gave on the case
So you thought my answer was bullshit is what you're saying?
No, I thought your answer was brilliant. But you didn't say anything.
Yeah.
You should run for office.
I'm Trump Jr. right here.
I'd vote for you.
That's it, folks. That's episode 5 of the 2 Farts. Thank you for joining. You can follow us on the old Instawebs, TikTok. I forget the damn call names, but we'll figure it out at some point. Anyway, happy Monday. We'll see you next week.
See you guys.